Welcome to another episode of Ambient Bass Effects Afternoons. Appreciate all y'all hanging out with me on the various platforms. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We just grooving along, doing our usual. During this time of day, I don't do too much talking. But I appreciate y'all hanging with me. So, what you were listening to there is just something I just made up a few minutes ago. And it is actually composed with the Future Impact, one of the bass synths coming from the Future Impact, while the guitar-esque type sounds are coming from the Hog 2, the MS-60 DR Plus, and the HX1. So, this is really only 3 pedals. I also have a JHS Color Box V2 on there as well. So, it just allows you to get that octave up. You know, you add that little tone model, just adds a bit of clarity to it. So this allows me to get into a little bit more of the territory I like to be in when I'm soloing sonically, you know. So it just gets you that nice, you know, funk feel to it. Don't forget, this is a bass guitar, so you know you can use it in any way you see guitarists use theirs. So quarterly tapping, you know, all those different aspects, you got access to all that stuff, sweep picking, everything on the electric bass. That's why I love the electric bass the most. You know, I don't play upright, you know, at all. It's not my thing, you know. I learned 11 instruments altogether, 10 of them before I learned bass. So I was like, I'm not fixing to learn another one, and I'm not fixing to carry that joint around. But I do love hearing amazing upright basses. You know, I have some favorites that are amazing. Feel free to chime in. Let me know. Let me know if y'all have any questions about what I'm doing, or if y'all have anything that you want to chime in on. Otherwise, we're gonna get back to the music. All right, give me 1 second here. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. But let's go. So let's create some more music here. Feel free to ask questions about anything you see me doing, because we back. You feel me? So the hardest thing I find about just getting up consistently and doing something like this is the creative aspect of it. I have to constantly create, and it does make me have to constantly create, and in front of you guys too. So, you know, it's always a little nerve-wracking just creating in front of people all the time, but I think it's worth doing. So I'm switching back over to this pedal board view here. Let's see what we got on tap. Let's go to the Enzo X for a minute. Oh, gonna need that. Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, we just hanging out with another episode of Ambient Bass Effects Afternoons, or in this case, mornings. You know, I do mornings, afternoons, depending on what time it is. But I definitely appreciate all you guys hanging out with me on the various platforms. Make sure you hit that like button, that hype button. Make sure you comment. Let me know where you're from, where y'all chime in, where everybody from. Hit that, subscribe if you haven't already, you know. And a lot of the sounds that you're hearing are available on my Patreon. If you want to buy my preset packs, you can easily go to my Patreon, get them for the MS-60B Plus, the Future Impact V4 and VIP, and Enzo X, the Zoom MS-70 Plus, the 11 different preamp packs for the ToneX 1. What? Crazy work. All your favorites. Ampeg, SGT, Aguilar, AG, Gensler, Magellan preamp. You know, this Jens Ben Shuttle 9 tube, Harkey, TX600 tube. You know, Little Mark Bass 3, Little Mark 3. All these stuff is available on the Patreon, as well as if you want to support the channel more and you want to keep things like this rolling, you can support the channel over there for $1 to $5 a month. And that definitely helps out. And if you want to get me to get to pedal reviews a little faster, you got a specific request or you want a preset pack done for a specific pedal, you can start a fund for it and get some of the community to gather around and, help you get that. That's how we got the Future Impact and the whole series we did on that. A lot of you all's contributions to the Patreon and the super chats and things like that I use towards getting you guys the new bass reviews you want without, the whole commercial jig, you know what I'm saying? Like an actual review, an actual, tutorial of it and really spend some time with it versus when, people send you stuff, you feel a little bit more inclined to give them a good review, even though I don't. I try to tell them, I'm going to give you an honest review, but you guys to give me a good product. So definitely appreciate y'all hanging in there. What's going on? Appreciate y'all chiming in on Facebook. Got a few folks over there. Appreciate both of y'all. Also got a few folks over here on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. Appreciate all you guys. Make sure you comment. Everybody comment where they from. Check in. But so that particular track, I did a few different things there. I had the what did I use? I used the C4 synth, I think. Yeah, I used the C4 synth for the bass parts. Was that the C4 synth? It's one of these. Yeah, I think it was. No, I played the regular bass on this one. Yeah, that was just my regular bass with what preamp was that? That had to be Jens Band. That was just a Colorbox V2 tone model into a Plethora X1, which was doing the chorus, which gave it that nice wide sound to it on the bass guitar sound. And then we used the Enzo X as the solo and for all the pads, really. So most of that was the Enzo X, and then we used my regular bass sound to create the drum track with that. So, ended up with the final result of you know how big those pads are? The Enzo X is just insane. Like how many pedals can you say do as much as the Enzo X does? It's one of my favorites. I know I talk about it a lot. It's not just because I sell a preset pack for it. I literally talk about it a lot because it is one of the few pedals. It's a keyboard and an effects pedal all in one in the space of a regular size like big pedal, pretty much. That's insane. You carrying around synthesizers as pedals now. The Future Impact, you know what I'm saying? You got the Future Impact here, which is a lot smaller. I definitely recommend this for every bassist that wants to have all the vintage bass sounds, and it definitely helps get you right in the territory. Gets you right in that territory without too much of a fuss. Ooh. So, it just gets you right there. That's one of the biggest reasons to love it. What's going on? Appreciate you chiming in. What's going on? Got the usual suspects coming in. As usual, I definitely appreciate all my regulars. Everybody that just supports the channel on the regular, thank you. And from Patreon on to the subscribers on YouTube and everywhere else. So is it worth getting a Deep Impact because they're a bit cheaper? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't recommend getting anything else and expecting the results of the Future Impact V4. It has upgraded sound quality, upgraded tracking, upgraded everything, and you can still use it to play other MIDI devices as well. So if I wanted to play sounds in my in Logic, or if I wanted to play sounds from the Yamaha motif I have sitting right here, I can do all of that from my bass. No other pedal is going to allow you to do that. So with that and all the incredible sound quality, and the Deep Impact's not going to give you this type of sound quality. These some of the stock sound. That's stock. Getting towards me. Awesome octaver in there. Future Impact is crazy. It literally is the best bass synth pedal. I recommend getting a Future Impact over getting a keyboard right now. Like, I recommend that over the bass station and any of that stuff because you could do all the same stuff with a Future Impact, but it'll fit in your pocket. And you can play with your bass, or if you get to the gig and say you're playing somewhere and they got backline, you can also have them give you a MIDI controller. You don't even have to carry that. And then you have your little sounds and your Future Impact all ready to go. So, I would recommend. It just sounds great. Like, I don't want to watch the volume on that. And just the sound quality you get from that unit overall is just incredible. And the things you can do with it. Now I will say, nope, they aren't compatible with V3 because the packs I make are only compatible with V4 because the hardware, everything was changed for V4. Versions 1 through 3 all have the same hardware, which is insane. But versions 1 through 3 of the Future Impact, V1, V2, V3, all have the same hardware. So you can, if you have one of those, like a V1, you can upgrade the firmware to a V3, but not the same for the V3 going to the V4 in the VIP. So, and I would just recommend the VIP one, to be honest. It takes up so much less space on your pedal board. Look how small it is compared to, what the original one was. This one fits in the palm of your hand. It's about the size of my hand, actually. So, oh, come on. Just nasty work. Just get some. See, these are not in my pack. These are all the sounds from the stock. But some of these are the ones that are, you can easily spot mine because mine are going to be all the bigger, fatter sounds. It definitely took me a while to get that pack together, but all the bigger, fatter sounds are my sounds. The ones that sound thinner are usually the stock sounds. But, the guy that made it is amazing. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to understand this guy's worked on a lot of different stuff, and you can't expect him to also, like, have all the sounds in mind. That's why he has people like me. Not has me, but that's why I exist. That's why I play bass and things like that instead of just people that build them. The people that build them, they spend a lot of their time building those things. So you can't expect them to be able to go crazy on them too, like a full-time musician that's playing all day long. That's pretty unreasonable. But they have a very small team, so I give them for what they produce. It's insane. And it just, with a small few tweaks, even the stock sounds are more usable. Oh, it's just. Oh, see, it just gets. That was a raw waveform that I could run into different filters if I wanted to. So yeah, you definitely get some of the McDirty fat sounds. What's going on, folks? I appreciate y'all. All the usual suspects are now rolling in, folks, and I appreciate all you. I think that's what I'm gonna call the the community, the usual suspects. I actually had somewhat of a party fraternity type thing in college called the usual suspects. So over at Bowie State, they still do it to this day. And the crazy part is when you start something like that, as time goes on, people don't even know you started it, but the people that was there, you just, it was a great time. Can't tell you what we did, but but trust and believe, we had some nice parties. You know what I'm saying? We were selling dinners. We had the dinners renting out. Had the ladies come. We had the whole party rocking in college, bro. It was a lot of fun. But I was in marching band, and each section of a marching band, if you've never been in one, it's kind of like its own fraternity or sorority. So I personally refuse to. I don't believe in pledging necessarily. That's just me. Not for me. Not my thing. I'm not good with that type of authority. But at the same time, I didn't feel like all of us that didn't feel like we needed to do that. We all clicked up, started our own thing, and then next thing you know, here come everybody else that's already in their little things come over to be in our thing. Because, it's kind of hard being left out the party every weekend, ain't it, huh? I don't care what you say. I don't care what you're part of. You want to be at that party, don't you? It was fun. But I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me as usual. I don't know how long I'm going to do, right this second, but I think I got a few more. Well, maybe a few more in me. Yeah, you definitely can. You just, I encourage folks, always don't be afraid to start your own thing, especially as a musician. I'll give y'all this before I start playing. Get my hands a little second. You guys, if you're waiting for somebody to come and save you and take you up on their tour and do this and that, you're gonna be broke a lot of days as a musician. Yeah. Oh, y'all called y'all anonymous. See, everybody got had a little. It was fun. You want to have your little friends. Your cliques, and then we made some money too. But yeah, make sure you guys, if you, it's nothing stopping you from turning on your camera, and doing your own thing or booking your own shows. You can be just as great as anybody else. You just gotta put in that effort. Don't let anybody tell you, how good you are or how good you aren't. I take compliments with a grain of salt and I take insults with a grain of salt because, I've seen it happen a lot of ways. People love you one day, they hate you the next. I've seen it happen. But when you know for yourself that you are doing what you need to do and what I'm saying, you're a good person, all that good stuff, it makes life a lot easier. You ain't got to let folks, they going to talk they junk, let them talk they junk. Show them. Show them. Show up. Show up when they won't, outwork them. Because most of those people talking trash ain't going to put in no work to do nothing. So I would encourage you guys to start your own thing if you haven't already. I'm sure you got song ideas in your head. I'm sure you got, a lot of you guys got your own extensive pedal setups and everything. It's nothing stopping you from being the next great artist. You know what I'm saying? You can be the artist that we all needed. Just don't stop. Don't stop. And don't quit, especially if, because of other people. Make sure you stay encouraged and you stay on task and focused and tune out the noise. Create your own space where you can, now everybody, just like I was saying with the story, we started our own, then everybody else came and wanted to join. That's what you got to do. And, some of them people you let join, some of them people you don't. Most of them you don't. If they ain't rocking with you, they ain't rocking with you. They don't come rocking with me now. But, I definitely would say make sure you guys have that thing for yourself as a musician, not just, playing covers, really, really take the time. Your songs don't suck. They don't. I can tell you now, all you have to do is perform them properly. There's a crowd of people that want to hear you play. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a crowd of people that's going to love you as an artist. There's going to be people that's going to love you as a person. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to try to fit into things or into a box that you don't fit in. A lot of times people try to put me in a box as a jazz musician. I'm not just a jazz musician. I'm not just a bassist. I'm a musician. I play everything. I play classical. I play R&B. I play funk. I play Afro-Cuban. I play all types of styles, Eastern classical. I play everything that is available to me. So, and I mean all the parts too. I'm not just playing bass parts. I'm playing melodies. I'm playing chords. I'm playing solos. I make sure that I don't get locked into a box just because people want to put me there as a bassist. It's one of the reasons why I don't mind working for people, but it's one of the reasons why a lot of times I don't like working for people, because I end up being a stage piece like the amp. Yes, I'm making everybody dance, because, bass, we make them dance. It's, you make everybody else happy, and then you don't even look good, and then you don't even get any of the shine. A lot of people, they love it until they realize that when you let me solo, I may get a bigger applause than you. Then they start backing off. Then them solos become less and less, and then, other things happen. But because I have my own thing, there's nothing nobody can do about it. Because I got this microphone, this camera, and you guys, there's nothing nobody can do about that. And I have people that absolutely love me that are not musicians. That's the next thing. Don't only congregate with musicians. Musicians don't tend to have the money to pay you. The people that want to pay you are probably not musicians. So if you're waiting for musicians who can't save themselves to come and save you, who, are still trying to get their stuff together, they can't save you. Them other musicians cannot save you. Only, I'm not big into religion and all that stuff, but, whoever you call God, or whatever name you call upon for your power, or whatever the case, or your help, you know what I'm saying, and yourself are the only ones that got control of that. So don't let people talk down to you, you know what I'm saying, because they might seem to be a better musician than you today. That's another thing. I don't know why I'm going down this road, but maybe some of y'all need to hear this, because I was been supposed to start playing again. But, I like to encourage people. It's part of teaching. You can't teach somebody if they do not feel as if they can achieve it. So I spend a lot of time with my students on that confidence level. Don't let them, you're going to make mistakes. That don't mean you suck. Make mistakes all the time. And I wish somebody would get up there with a bass with me. I don't care who it is in the world. I don't play that. If you come at me and you with a bass, that is your problem. That's your problem. You shouldn't have came at me. Now I gotta rip you to shreds. But I understand everybody doesn't have that ability. But at the same time, just you are a human. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to be able to do what I do, and you don't need to do what I do. You need to do what you do and be great at that. I'm great at being me. Everybody can't be me. Nobody else can be me but me. You guys can be great at being you, though. Just as great. There's other great bassists. There's other great musicians in the world who are all themselves, and it helps. It helps a lot when you have that confidence. And nobody can tell you, and a lot of times people take it as arrogance. They're going to take it as arrogance because they can't tell you how to feel about you. I'm telling you now, because I have no problem telling anybody I feel like I'm the best bassist in the world. I don't care, because why should I feel like I'm the second best? I'm put my whole life into this. No boxer, no CEO, no company, nobody else would say, "Hey, everybody else is better than me," and then expect people to buy from them. How people gonna buy from you? And you talking about, "Well, everybody else in the world better than me." Stop that. Play. If they called you, they think enough to call you, bro. They think enough to call you. So that means they need to pay you. Make them pay you too. If you thought enough to call me, I'm good enough for you to call me. I'm good enough for you to pay me. All that. And I'm good enough for you to respect what I'm bringing to the table. You know, not saying get out of pocket on your gigs. That's how you lose your gigs. Don't get out of pocket on your gigs. You know what I'm saying? Stay in your place. You ain't the music director, shut the hell up. Shut up. You know, if you're don't undermine the director. Just do what they're asking you to do. That's how you keep your gigs. As far as I'm concerned, when I'm doing rehearsal, if the music director don't have to say nothing to me, that is a great day. I did my job. That means I nailed the music. I did everything I was supposed to do. There's nothing else, you know. Don't be interjecting your ideas all the time in front of clients. You know, say y'all working for an artist. It's not a good time. Hey, I think we should do this in front of the artist. You're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. So, you know, I hope these little tips, you know, I think I'm about ready to play one more at least, you know. But I hope these little tips help you guys along. This is, you know, and I definitely appreciate that. You know, I love Victor Wooten. I love all these, like Richard Bona, Victor Wooten. Who's some of my other? Bassists aren't always my favorite musicians. I'm not gonna lie to you. Majority of my favorite musicians are guitarists and pianists and other things. But I do love, like, of course, I love Marcus Miller, Stanley Clark. You know, who's Pino. You know what I'm saying? Who else comes to mind? Matt Garrison is another killing cat. What's my man name that played for Michelle? Michelle Nadigicello. I think I'm saying her name right. I like her stuff too. Great bassist. What is that guy's name? I can't think of his name. He's a killer player too. It'll come to me. But I love other bassists playing and stuff too as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Sheree Reed's playing. Definitely a great player. D. Hearn, who's a gospel bassist. I like hearing this stuff on the Ricky Dillard records. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think. Y'all gonna make me name names, and then I feel obligated to keep naming names because I don't want to leave nobody out. But you get the point. I love to hear other bassists and all that good stuff. But you know, in terms of inspiration, when you really want to get inspired, get some different sounds, get some different, you know, some more intricate solo lines and things like that. It typically is going to be guitarists, pianists, saxophonists, trumpet players, you know, things of that nature. You know, but we got to bring that to the bass, guys. We got to bring all those chops over to the bass. You know, that's one of my biggest things. And I'm gonna give you guys, I'm gonna do an improvisation course so you guys will be able to do a lot of that. Pretty much anything you want. After you do my improvisation course, you will be able to play, like be able to go off if you felt like it, like shut it down. You know what I'm saying? But it is going to be a lot of work. You know, I'm definitely, you know, I don't know why I just went down this little tangent, but I appreciate y'all hanging with me. You know, hopefully it inspired somebody, or, you know, I appreciate you near, you know, and my man 88 over there, I appreciate y'all chiming in and everything, you know. Big, like I said, all those guys are amazing. But it's time for music. One of my favorites is, did you know that's a bass guitar? You're not supposed to be doing all of that. No, I just went and bought this really expensive thing. I didn't even know what it was. So yeah, you know, definitely just kind of enjoying, doing different things with the bass these days. I mean, every day really, but definitely going back to some of my old, solo pieces that I haven't played in a while. That one actually is on my All Bass Creations album. It's a full flushed out track with pads and nature sounds and everything else, but everything is just my bass and effects. No MIDI. So check that out on allbasscreations.bandcamp.com, as well as some other singles where I did, the whole track playing bass, drums, and piano, and, various things. So, make sure you check out all that stuff when you get a chance. So I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Of course, you guys have been amazing. This definitely means the world to me that you guys would spend some time hanging out with me. And, for the usual suspects, it means a lot that you guys come back. You guys could not, you could see it one time and then turn away, but you guys continually come back and support. A lot of you guys are going over to the Patreon and supporting, whether it be preset packs or actual $1, $5 a month, which, believe it or not, goes a long way. When you add that up with a few different people, you put some numbers to it, that can do something. But we also got the courses coming out soon. I've been saying that for a while, but it takes a while for me to put this together because it's a very extensive improvisation course. It's actually like my signature course that I use to get students to, full rides in college, all over. I'm not gonna list all the schools and all that good stuff, but you'll you may have seen my students already. I know some of you guys have seen some of my students already, but you know, teaching is one of my other things that I'm super passionate about other than just playing bass. You know, I don't want to die and not, it's an old saying, every time a man dies, a library is burned down. And with that, you know, if you're not familiar with that basically a saying is, you know, you spend your whole life gaining knowledge and experience doing things. You want to pass that on to other people before you leave here. So one of the ways I want to do that is with this improvisation course. Not that I plan on going anywhere anytime soon, but, you know, you just want to put out as much information and help as many people as possible. And because that information ultimately was what's going to separate them from everybody else and give them a slight advantage. You know, that's what I said, in competition, don't worry about the competition in music. It's always going to be competition. Everything in life is a competition. Get over it. Get used to it. Get comfortable with it. Use it to thrive and survive. Because when you are on the other side of that competition and you're winning, you won't feel the same as when you're losing. See? So it's your job to get on the winning side of things, folks. No problem, folks. You know, I'm glad this is helping y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know things don't always happen the way you guys want them to happen or the way I want them to happen. You know, you must keep going. You must hang in there. You will get better. But if you stop, you won't get nothing. And rightfully so. But you keep going, you will get something. You will at least get close to your goals, at least close to things. You know what I'm saying? You might not always hit the mark on everything, but, you know, success is like a pile of failures that you're standing on. You know, you really got to think of it like that. All those failures, you only need a few of them joints to work, and all them failures is what you're standing on. That's what experience is. That's what wisdom is. That's what, you know, being mature and growing is. You know what I'm saying? You go through those good times, bad times, lift yourself up, keep going, learn your lessons, and bam, you good. So just make sure that and forgive yourself. Don't forget that. It's an important aspect. Something I struggle with myself. I mess up, not playing music, but mess up in life, and then I'm just hard on myself. Forgive yourself. You know what I'm saying? And be willing to forgive other people because you're going to need their forgiveness as well. So that's all I'm going to do for today. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Check out all my me on all the social media platforms at the Bass Negus. Check me out on what's that? Patreon.com/allbasscreations, and allbasscreations.bandcamp has all my music that I currently have out, and I got a ton that I'm coming out with. You know, hold on, I'll give y'all a little something. Let me give y'all a little sneak. Let me see. Because really, all these loops, I might just turn all these loops into an album. Ain't no point in throwing them away. You know what I'm saying? I already got them. That ain't it. Jeez, how many of these I got? That ain't it. What is going on? Sorry, it's taking a little longer than I expected. Should have had this ready. Yeah. See, I just recording. This is what happens because I have so many loops in here. So stuff like this, new album, you ain't come out, don't you worry. You know, my music is meant to inspire you with or without words. So like, you know, you just gotta hang in there through the rough times, you know what I'm saying? So everything just kind of, I always like to encourage folks, whether it be sonically or verbally or, you know, just education, you know, any way I can help folks, I feel like is a good way to help them. So All right, guys. I definitely appreciate it. You hanging out with me today. I will catch you guys next time on All Bass Creations, Ambient Bass Effects, mornings. All right, peace. Take it easy. And I'm glad I helped you out. I'm glad, bro, because somebody had to help me. So I'm glad it's doing something for you. And yeah, we're going to drop that music for you. All right, peace.